Hello everybody, welcome back to the Moto Outsider, and in this episode we are covering all things Glendale Supercross, from Eli Tomac extending his points lead, Jett Lawrence winning again. We're going to discuss him and his brother's future plans, and then Julian Balmer winning in the futures as well, going from jet skis to dirt skis. And as always, guys, we're doing our 1,000 subscriber giveaway, so please feel free to subscribe to be entered on into that and comment below this video. We're choosing our next winner at 1,000 subs, but my man, Chris Baird, with the beautiful long hair. My dude's in a different location today. How are you, man?
Yeah, man, I'm great. I'm home with my family in New York, as you can see by my beautiful backdrop in my mom's kitchen.
Yes,
we're out filming some videos wherever we can. How are you today?
Can't complain, man. It's a blustery day down here in Florida. We had a bunch of storms blow through, so it's actually cooler for once, which is nice, but it's definitely warmer than New York State. But you and I are going to be spending a lot of time in New York this summer, man. So I'm pumped to actually get back home with you, hanging out with you and your dad, being in your moto basement, which I'm excited to share with everybody at the Moto Outsider too, because your basement, pretty goddamn sick, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool moto relics and jerseys and all that fun stuff down there. It's the workshop, all the bikes are there, so we're gonna have some good bench racing sessions down there this summer, hopefully sooner than later.
Hell yeah, dude. Do you think your dad would be open to get on an episode with us?
Yeah, of course. I told him the first time we talked about it. He's like, "Oh, really?
Yeah.
You want to have me on here?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do it. We'll get your dad on. That'd be cool. Get old chum in the podcast. Let's do it, man."
Dude, that'd actually be super fun. And because your dad's not afraid to talk shit, so that'll be sweet. So anyways, dude, let's jump right into the 250. So this was a Triple Crown event out here in Glendale, and it's no surprise that Jett Lawrence wins. But I think the big question right now is what's going to lie in store for the Lawrence brothers for 2023. What are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, so as we know, Jett's going to be finishing up his Supercross season. He's already been training and practicing on a 450. Yep. He's going to be racing outdoors on a 450 factory Honda. I mean, I don't see how he doesn't get some wins and maybe win the championship.
Excited to watch that.
I am too. I mean, we saw him straight up past Chase Sexton at the Motocross of the Nations this year on a 450. Kind of scary for the field. And then Hunter, there's a lot of rumors that Hunter might move up after the outdoors. I think he wants to get an outdoor title. Obviously wants to get the Supercross title too, but they're saying Sexton's probably out at Honda. Good place for him to be. He'll fill that role. He's older than Jett, so he's more likely to move up. We need to get him up in the field and get him working. He's been great on a 450s in the past, so I think we see both those guys move up next year and leave some spots open for new 250 guys.
Got it. Oh yeah, I mean, dude, and with Jett moving up, do you think? I mean, well, both Lawrence brothers moving up essentially. Do you think that that'll give time for RJ Hampshire to shine a little bit, have some of his talents come through? But I mean, he's got some talent hot on his heels as well. But my question is, do you think that'll give Hampshire some time to shine?
I mean, I would hope so. What's it been, like, I don't know, almost 10 years now he's been in the 250 class. It feels like it's been forever. I know it's not been that long, but yeah, right. I think he has obviously been the second best guy. I think he could beat Thrasher. I think he's beaten McAdoo more than McAdoo's beaten him. Mm-hmm. I think next year is possibly his last year on 250s to really prove himself. He needs to win a title, needs to win more than one race, and I think he can do it. He's got to stay off the ground. That's all he needs. He rides wide open. It is sketchy to watch him ride sometimes.
But that's more fun to watch. When people are just loose, but they're just pinned the whole time, it's fun to watch.
It is.
So 250 shook out with Lawrence going 1-3-1, Hampshire going 2-1-3, and my man Levi Kitchen going 3-2-2. What are your thoughts on Levi Kitchen as we start to, head towards the tail end of Supercross, come into outdoors? What are you expecting to see from him?
They brought up an interesting stat in the podcast or the broadcast. Excuse me. This is only his 6th Supercross race in his whole career. So, being so young to the Supercross thing, I think he has a ton of potential. I mean, there's no reason he can't be a title contender next year. If you take the Lawrence brothers out of this equation, I mean, both classes are literally wide open for anybody to win. So, there's talks of Levi going to a new team next year. I guess KTM is really interested in hiring him. I think Max Volan's out there. He's had 3 years to do something, and top 5s are great, but they want him winning in that class. So wouldn't be surprised to see maybe he fits in there or somewhere else, or maybe he stays a star. Who really knows? But yeah, I think he's got a lot of opportunities and tons of potential to be a Supercross champion more than once potentially too. He's very, very talented.
Cool. All right, so dude, I mean, let's round out the 250s by talking about Derek Kelly. My dude gets 6 overall, but I mean, we kind of know why that happened. But dude, what do you think about Derek Kelly and the moves he's made? I mean, that's his best finish for the year, I think, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think he might have gotten another 6th this year, but I mean, the AAO KTM team he's on, he's been so consistent. It's just impressive. It makes you wonder if he got a factory ride, like one of those pro circuit fill-ins, like what could he really do with an even better bike? So Derek Kelly's probably been the best privateer in both classes all year. It's really fun to watch. And next year, again, we have potentially 2 Lawrence brothers moving out of the class. Does that move him up to the top 5, maybe some podiums next year with a better ride? Be cool to see. I think there's a lot of potential with him.
Dude, I mean, it would be, and this is a little off topic, but you saw like this exact thing happened to your point about him, potentially being on a better bike, what would happen. The same exact thing happened in Formula One when George Russell went from Williams Racing to Mercedes AMG Petronas. The dude goes from literally being last on the grid and having a car that was terrible to not only being in the front of the grid every single race essentially, but challenging for wins. So it's like, what could these privateer guys do? If you took a dude, let's talk about the 450s quick. If you took a guy like Kevin Moranz, who's clearly great talent on a stock bike to the best of its ability, you put him on a factory KTM. What happens, right? With ample time to train and test. Now let's translate that down to 250s too. If you gave these guys a sick built bike, how would that change the field? That would be so fun to watch, man.
Yeah, it almost makes you like, MXGP has like open rules. Like if they could just let these guys run some, maybe some different motor specs and kind of open these bikes up a little bit. The 250 class is such a tough one because the motors on the factory bikes are so much faster, giving those guys more power, more suspension, more options with their bikes. And then you look at like having Roger DeCoster or like just any of the team managers there with experience, like a Troy Lee, like those kind of guys, like having that experience to kind of train you. Just there's so many pieces of the puzzle that could help replace the skills they have and make them just a little bit better, get them moved up. It'd be cool to see, and I think Derek Kelly is honestly someone who really could get even like a Club MX ride, just get him on a little bit of a better team.
Right.
I don't know. And your guy Moranz, I mean, he's hole shotting on a stock 450. I mean, can you imagine if he had some good stuff on his bike? It'd be crazy.
What I'm saying. Or even if those parts and mechanics were available to help out. Obviously, they're not contractually. But what I'm saying is, imagine if you could buy factory bike parts direct from like Pro Circuit. Obviously, they're not going to sell everything, so in the best interest of their team. But imagine if you could drop $60,000 on a motor build, for example. I mean, probably a terrible example, but the point is, imagine if these privateers had the money to build up a competitive bike and still be able to go racing and not lose all their money on fees and everything else. And not only that, not be able to sell their merch in the pits and everything. It's just, I got a lot to say about the privateer stuff, but it would be fun to see that talent pool opened up. Let's get off that. Talk about the 450s. So it goes Tomac, Sexton, Barsha, but dude, wild card. Cole Seeley's back for a couple races, man. What do you think about that? It's cool to see him back on a bike, but give us the breakdown on Cole Seeley.
Yeah, Cole Seeley departed the sport after a really, really bad injury, and he's just never really the same after that. It's cool to see him back. These guys retire so young, and they still have the itch. They still think they can win, and I don't think Cole could ever win another 450s. I mean, he's very talented. He can throw some pretty fat whips if that could win a race. I'm sure you could do that, but it's just cool to see him out there. A guy who's raced forever and came up through the privateer ranks with like those old Suzuki teams. It's cool to see him out there. He's getting ready for World Supercross, and I don't know if you paid attention to the World Supercross lineup, but not looking very good. I don't think their plan's working. I think we need to make a video about that soon because there's not very many good guys going over to World Supercross.
Probably should have listened to us in the first video we made, even though we're just a bunch of nobodies. But all right, dude. So Tomac extends his points lead. He's got 7 points over Cooper Webb, right? So what are your thoughts on Tomac's performance? The dude obviously checked out. The dude killed it, obviously, to be expected. But what are your thoughts on what Tomac's going to do coming into Atlanta? Another speedway style race. Seems like Tomac excels in this arena. What do you got, man?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at Daytona round 2, essentially, and he was good there this year. Cooper Webb was just off. I don't know if he was struggling or what the deal is, or maybe Barsha is just that much better and Sexton's that much better, but Eli was consistent. He had 3 really good starts. Cooper did not have good starts where he normally does. And I just find it really interesting that with the mental strength that Cooper has, that he couldn't find that little more to kind of work his way forward. The first race, he was right there the whole time. And it's weird watching Eli. Eli just doesn't seem like he's dominant like he's been in the past. And we've talked about it before, but again, just doing enough. Barsha almost reeled him in the third race. So
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Barsha was close to him, man. I mean, Tomac might have been gassed. I'm sure it's not easy to have your heart rate up that high being in first first position each gate drop. But dude, I mean, Barsha was right on him, bro.
Yeah, and Barsha's the guy who needs to get a win. He's, in my opinion, the second fastest guy, or probably third fastest guy. I think Sexton still has overall speed. We watched him pass Tomac in the whoops. Like, it was like watching James Stewart ride through those whoops, just pinned to the bar. But yeah, Barsha has really been good this year. I don't know where it came from. Sounds like he signed another 2-year deal with the Gas team, so we'll see him around a little bit longer. And I don't know about you, but I just find it so interesting that it seems like these 4 or 5 top guys, you look at Webb, Anderson, Barsha, Roxon even, like, they're getting better. Like, later in their careers, they're getting faster. Traditionally, you don't see that in sports, unless you're like Tom Brady or something, but I don't know what you think about it. It's just weird to see these guys getting older, and they're getting faster.
For sure, and I think that's a testament to the technology and the training and the diet, all the equipment they have to test on, all the data they have to look back on and see, where they might be able to improve and things like that. I believe the technological renaissance that we're in, which is crazy to say because it seems like we have too much tech, but everything just keeps getting better. I think that is what is allowing these bikes to be a little bit more maybe like easier on the rider, so allowing the rider's body to have some longevity to it. One thing I really don't understand that I'm trying to work over in my mind is how you regress as you get older. And I understand how age and genetics and everything plays into that. But you would think, like, if you, again, just going back to Formula One, dude, some of the older drivers are the best drivers because they have that mental acumen, whereas Supercross is much more physical. So I think the body plays into that. Motocross, too, the body and what you can take when you're 20-something compared to when you're 30-something and obviously 40-something, it's much, much different. But yeah, dude, it is crazy to see how these guys look to be getting better, but we'll see when that elevated talent from the 250s hops on a 450, how that starts to jockey the positions around, because we know Jett's going to be a thorn in a lot of these guys' sides, and it might push some guys out to be like, yeah, I'm not as young as I once was, so it's time to look at something different, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see, Cooper and Eli just riding around in second, third, fourth place all the time. Like, if those guys aren't winning every weekend or every other weekend, I can't see them hanging around. But the longevity part, like, we're definitely seeing these guys go into their 30s now. Even Justin Brayton, I mean, the guy won Daytona a few years ago. It's so interesting. But I think, like you said, with the data, that's probably what it is. I guess we don't realize like the technology in our sports because it's not talked about as much with Supercross. Everything's so private. Salaries are private. Everything is so hidden. But it's keeping everybody safe and fresh and healthy. There's also some bad things to the technology. Like, they had that really cool split rhythm section this weekend, but using Dartfish, they knew the left side was way faster and nobody took the right side. So I wish they would use some of the technology for other reasons, and it kind of hurts our sport. But it is definitely helping keep these guys around longer. So I'm not too mad about it. But I think Jett and Hunter moving up is going to be a big detrimental piece to this whole storyline. Like, do these guys stick around, or do they just dart out and say see ya? Because if they're not winning, I don't think that they stick around, especially like a guy like Eli who has millions in the bank and doesn't really need to be racing, but does it because he loves it.
Yeah, exactly. And then they get to that point where the riders see that risk to reward just gets too tight. So they're just like, all right, screw it. We're going to do something else. But I feel like we could do a whole separate episode on the technology and everything involved in Supercross, man. But dude, to wrap things up, let's talk about the Supercross futures. And it was really cool to see Julian Ballmer win. He goes from being jet ski world champion, I think, to coming onto dirt bikes and doing some impressive things. What are your thoughts on all things futures as we depart from Glendale?
Yeah, Julian Ballmer's got a cool story. I think his dad was like a jet ski champion, and he's a jet ski world champion, at least from an interview I heard from him a few weeks back. But he seems like a really cool kid. He's got a factory KTM ride, which is awesome. I'm surprised Star didn't nab him up with how they usually tend to pick these guys up. He was riding Yamahas. But yeah, it's pretty cool. He's working with Davey Millsaps, another guy in the sport who's absolutely a legend, who's won races. He's straight up beat Villapoto, like just really fast, really talented. So he's got a lot of potential. Daxton Bennick was really good this weekend. Got another podium. Ryder D, I just kind of figured he would have swept. He's been the guy. Last year he was the guy, but coming off an injury, maybe he's trying to keep it healthy. I'm sure Mitch doesn't want to lose him again. So, the futures are pretty interesting. Thought it was weird that we didn't see Chance Hymas out there again. He might be injured or something. I got to keep an eye on that. I haven't been paying much attention. But, futures, we got 3 decent guys and all these other guys I've not really heard of. But no one else is really stepping up and getting on the podium. So Casey Corcoran, he's pretty good, but he hasn't really been up there. So, Supercross futures, man. We got to keep an eye on these guys because they're coming. And I think next year is going to be a really big season for 250s with 2 of the biggest names possibly not being there.
For sure, man. I mean, so with all eyes on heading to Atlanta, who do you got? Who do you got for 450s? Obviously, I just think given Tomac's history, it's going to be all Tomac. But who do you got for 450s?
Yeah, I think unless Tomac gets a bad start, Barsha lives down in that Georgia, Florida area. He could be good in that dirt, but I still think Tomac is going to need to get another win and stretch his points lead out. And then I don't know about who you think about 250s, but Hunter Lawrence. I don't, unless Nate Thrasher just comes up and decides to do something special, because he has won there at those races before. So
For sure.
I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same. I agree with you because I think the season. I don't want to say the season's pretty much spoken for, but we can see the trend of who's going to finish where. So I think it's pretty easy to make a well-educated guess. But dude, that's why we love this. We're going to see because a wild card and a curveball might get thrown in. Aaron Plessinger might come out and surprise us, like he almost did. So you never know. But dude, why don't you let the good people of Moto Outsider know what we've got planned post-race for Atlanta this weekend?
Yeah, no, we're talking about doing this. We're going to do everything we can to make this happen. But as soon as the race is over and once the 450 checkered flag waves, the race is over, you guys go to the Moto Outsider YouTube channel and Matt and I are going to be live on a Zoom call and we're going to cover the race. And the nice part about that is there's a live chat. So you guys can jump in, leave your comments, throw questions up, just things for us to talk about. And something we've wanted to do for a long time. And we feel our sport is lacking in this area. So come check out the Moto Outsider post-race show after Supercross this weekend and let's talk some dirt bikes.
For sure, man. And I love the idea because, dude, when you texted me and said we should do this, I was pumped because, one, it's a sick idea. And two, I'm like 1,100 miles away from you. And I'm sure there's people all over the country and in the world, which would be pretty sick, that are all watching Supercross that want one place to hang out and kind of talk about it. And I think we can make that happen pretty much immediately after the race is over and kind of make it like a little bit of a watch party. So I'm super pumped to roll that out, and I know it's going to be on a Zoom call, so is it going to look the best? Probably not, but we're all going to be in one place hanging out, and we're going to iron that out as best we can. We want to do that going forward for all those races. So, yeah, guys, be sure to check us out right after the Supercross race is over on Saturday. We're going to be live on this channel talking all things Supercross, so be sure to join us.
Yeah, just trying to innovate, trying to put more content out. We're all living our busy lives, but I think this is something that we can just, log on, record, talk some fun, have some fun with everybody. Again, bring up things after the race that other people see watching the broadcast maybe we missed, and I just think it's going to be a cool concept to get everybody involved with and be the first to break some news and have some early content out for everybody. I think it'd be pretty cool.
100%. So, guys, that is everything for Glendale. We are departing Glendale. We're heading on over to Atlanta. Be sure to subscribe and comment down below to enter our 1,000 subscriber giveaway. We're about to announce that next winner as fast as we can, hopefully. But that's everything from our side. Chris, send these good people off to next weekend.
Yeah, please leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you think is going to win the Atlanta Speedway Supercross. Again, I'm looking at Tomac and Lawrence, but you never know. It's interesting dirt. These guys all train down in the southeast now, so you might see a new winner in both classes. But once again, thanks everybody for watching. This is the Moto Outsider. My name is Chris, here with Matt. We are the hosts, and we are out of here. We'll see you next week. Take it easy, guys.
See you guys next weekend.